Hey guys, I'm calling this the Quick Start Blueprint, and I say an honest evaluation of your talents because if I'm being honest with you, I'm getting a lot out of my new career, okay? And it's mainly because I had a couple years, I thought I was kind of done. I wasn't really going to go on any further, like let's say retired. And I had a lot of time to kind of sit and contemplate what it was I was doing, why I was doing it, and I'm not saying I got that all figured out, but what I am saying is at least I'm able to answer a few questions, like what I'm really good at and what I'm not really good at. So I've got a couple of topics, and I just want all of you to kind of be thinking of this. And I call what I do basically I'm a deal maker. Okay, I go out, I find deals, I put them all together. And in order for you, like let's say you want to fix and flip, let's say you want to buy and sell mobile homes, let's say you want to write and sell notes, hypothecate notes. Okay, well, I don't care what it is. Okay, you've got to figure out what you're going to be doing, and you've got to build a tribe around it. So I see on my page here, I'm calling myself a deal maker. So I can put a check onto that box, and if you're not the deal maker, okay, because some of you may be retired last year and you took a one-time $700,000. I know it's happened because I've spoken to people here at the club like that, and so you don't have any experience, but you got money. Okay, well you're probably not the deal maker. You're probably you're probably the money raiser, okay? So I use this sheet, okay, or the way I think the sheet needs to be made is in your mind, you're like, well, who is that person? Who is that person going to be? And what I really recommend you do is just that, examine. Am I the deal maker? I'm not? Great. I need someone else for that, okay? So you're hitching your wagon to somebody else. Then now we're talking about a money raiser, okay? So who is a money raiser? Like who can just make a phone call? Yes, sir.
Is that supposed to be recent retirement or resent retirement?
It's a resent retirement. That's who it is. It is recent. Oops, my first typo. There'll be others, by the way. You'll find out that knowing how to spell and having good grammar has nothing to do with being a millionaire. Okay? Yeah. I can tell you right now, I resented being retired because I sat on the couch and just, had to listen to it all day long. From my wife, from the TV, from my kids, from everybody. I like working. It's fun. So, but when I'm talking about a money raiser, I'm talking about somebody you can call and hey, listen, I found this property. It's worth $1,400,000. I need $170,000 cash, and we're going to take over an existing $400,000 first. But I don't have $170. I'd be happy to give you half the transaction. That's like $800,000, or half of $800,000, if you'll give me the $170 with no payments for 2 years. Are you in? Okay, so you need to have people in your life that you can contact just like that, okay? Because the deal that I just talked about is a deal I'm doing right now, okay? Now, luckily, I had the 170 to pull it off myself, but I'm telling you all right now, you need a money raiser in your organization. So, even if you're not flipping properties, because I think that's really kind of changed. A few years ago, a lot of people were flipping. The deals are harder and harder to come by. But construction manager or site management is something that I would be looking for. So one of you might have construction, might be a site manager, might be a contractor, okay? And if that's your expertise, great, because now you've got somebody else for these other positions. So So again, that's really what we're looking for. And these contractor people, I'm talking about 200, at least 200 trades in their book. Okay, so I'm talking about people like if Anthony, if you had a job and you needed a drywaller on the job, I guarantee you I could have a drywaller on your job by 8 a.m. I guarantee I could do it. because I've been doing this for years, and I got 15, 16 guys, and I got a big drywall companies that won't show up, okay? But I got, Ronnie Ramirez, making up the name, who will be there quick. But what I'm saying is because I have the Rolodex and the years of experience behind me to find that. And so this construction person, it's not your uncle who one time flipped a house like 8 years ago. That's not the guy we're talking about. We're talking about, just as I was sitting here waiting, I get a video from the contractor who's up in Crestline, and the cabinets were delivered today, and they're painting this and they're doing that. Like, that's the guy. And I haven't been up there in a week. So that's the guy you want on your side. The resale expert, okay? Now, if you're going to be selling these properties, your resale expert, your real estate agent, and if this is you, if you're a real estate agent and if you're smart, I shouldn't say it that way, but if you're a real estate agent now, maybe you understand that for 5% to give 5% away on the project, it might be a way for you to have a pretty simple life. That's the way I see real estate nowadays. I was an agent. I have about 1,400 transactions that I've been a part of, either representing the buyer or the seller. So I got a lot of experience in real estate, but I never do my own real estate anymore because it's a hassle, and there's a lot on the board that has to be taken care of. I like real estate broker agents. I like people that are actively selling. Again, your uncle who's a postman, and he hasn't done a transaction yet, but he's really close to one. That's not a guy I'm talking about. That's not a guy or a woman I'm talking about. I need someone that you have a hard time getting a hold of, okay? Because they're so busy, they got deals going everywhere, okay? So let's go back real quick. These are the positions I'm talking about. I'm talking about a deal maker, I'm talking about a money raiser, I'm talking about a construction site manager, I'm talking about a resale expert. Now, is there a lot of other hats? Oh yeah, there's a lot of other hats. I mean, you've got escrow, you've got title, you've got all of these kinds of things. Okay, but these primarily are the items I'm talking about. So I say, I love the idea that Rich has about building a tribe, because that's exactly what we're doing here. So when we're talking about building a tribe, we're talking about the principal owner. So I would consider myself a principal owner. Most every project I get involved with, I'm either financing and I'm completely out of the deal and I'm just giving them money and get a check back at the end of the deal, or I'm the principal owner, because I see that's what drives my bank book the best, is for me to be in charge, for me to ramrod the project. And so you're looking for somebody. So if you're not the deal maker, if you're a contractor looking to put a deal together, and if you're not the principal owner, you're looking for this principal owner to be honest, trustworthy, knowledgeable, have integrity, understands what delayed gratification means, okay? Sometimes, like if I told you I've lost money on multiple projects, like lost 6 figures on multiple projects, and still had to spend $28,000 on some repair or something like that, because my loss would have been $200,000 if I didn't put the fence around it, or whatever the problem is. That's delayed gratification. You have to understand that there's a resale number that I always know I'm trying to achieve, and being able to understand how to put that project together is difficult. So if in your tribe you're the principal, the owner, good for you. If not, you want to be looking around the room. You want to be looking around for somebody else that can fit that bill. As far as a financier goes, like for instance, I know Steve does a great job financing folks. Okay, but what you guys need is, you need somebody like, for years I did business with Premier Money Source. He's a nice guy out of Newport Beach, California, and I would call him up and I would say, hey, I've got a house on 321 Sorta Street. I'm trying to close escrow. Well, what's today? It's Wednesday. I want to close escrow Tuesday next week. Guess what? He always had loan documents in escrow on Monday morning. He was always ready to go. We would always have to wait for the buyer, for the sellers. Always, always, always. But that was a guy I paid a premium to. I paid him 2 points, 10% interest. This was a couple of years ago. But the point that I'm making is a good, competent guy. And when I says experience 300 to 1,000 deals, that's what Dwayne Wellhofer had. When I say deal-oriented, if some of you are scratching your head, like I get phone calls like this from quite a few people. Hey, I'm trying to get this deal financed, and no one will finance it for me, but Jim, you can figure this deal out. Yeah, well if Steve's not going to lend on it, it probably means it's well, I was going to say turd, okay? But yeah, I mean, it's probably not a deal. Steve's in the business to say yes to people. He's not in the business to say no to somebody. And for that matter, if you're coming to someone who's reputable, okay, and they're saying, I don't see this deal, that's permission for you to flush, okay? So is that you who's the financier, or is that somebody else? Okay? So, your contractor. I've kind of already said this before, but I love contractors. I've been one. I've operated one. My dad was a contractor for years. But when I say, does that say extensive experience? I think it does. I'm looking for people that don't need that really don't even need me. I got to be honest with you. Okay. Like I've worked with so many bargain basement contractors, fired them, hired another one, screwed that one up, fired them, hired another one. Okay, so all of you have to kind of go through all of that yourselves. Okay, I don't now. I'm pretty much working with licensed contractors, and they actually I want to see their insurance. I want to see they have workman's compensation insurance, and this is a very new thing for me. But the business I'm in right now is pretty regulated, and I feel like it's a good thing for me to do. Am I paying more than I normally would? I am. But I have a different peace of mind because of it. So I'm talking about referrals. They should be able to send you to 8 to 28 referrals. And if you ask for 8 and they only give you 8, I don't like that either. I want them to bombard me with their capabilities. They need to know a building. When I say a building code expert, I'm talking about being able to look at something and say, well, we can fix it this way. We can, one that I would run into was that the plugs weren't grounded. Well, there's got to be a simple way to do that, because if there's not a simple way to do that and you don't have a GFI plug in the bathrooms or the kitchens or the outsides, your inspector who's the buyer is going to hire isn't going to pass it, and you're going to end up fixing it anyway. So just fix it right in the first place, everybody, okay? A keen understanding of a workman-like order. So does everyone understand the term workman-like order? So workman-like order means, hey, does it look right? Is it done properly? Is there like you see how there's clips on all of the conduit, okay? That's what a licensed electrician does. They don't take nails and bend them over they don't take nails and bend them over the conduit, okay? They use clips just like that. And what I notice, I'm working with the city of LA right now, two different properties. They all have inspectors and licenses. Some of these guys don't have any idea, the inspectors I'm talking about, have any idea what's going on. But a lot of them, our last inspection, the supervisor was with this guy who didn't know what he was doing. So the supervisor came up with like 22 corrections. Crazy stuff, but this is the life we live. This is the world we live in now. So, are you the contractor that can walk through a job and understand what workmanlike order looks like? What does a basement have to look like, and when the house is being resold? If that's you, good for you. You just need all the other people in your tribe.
Yeah, when we were talking about what we're doing, Jim wanted to go over a lot of that, because we get those questions where some of you are still trying to figure out, well, I don't know, should I do this? Should I have a partner? Should I do this? Should I do this? So he was trying to point it out about putting a team together. And want to have that self-evaluation, and I think he was right on that, so we added that. I'm going to go really quickly through a lot of stuff, because there's some stuff at the end I want to get through. So if there's any questions, please hold it to the end. I'm going to share a bunch of stuff with you, but not everything we're doing, but it's several things we're doing, what we're focusing on. Because some things that we did years ago, we're starting to do again. Some things we got away from because the market changes, things have shifted. But this is kind of what we're doing. So let's see. Understand one of the things that even Jim said is that underlying everything we do is we're helping people and in situations of learning to solve problems. Just keep that mindset there. That's what we're doing, okay? And it's important. But here's one of the things. I saw this. I was Courtney Fricky, who though you know her, this is something that she absolutely believes in. I was listening to a podcast of hers, and she's a friend of ours, and this is it. How many would be convicted? Honestly, how many of you would be convicted? There's only about 4 of you. Seriously. Stephanie, you were just too tired to raise your hand. I know. So, but this is serious, though. If there isn't enough evidence, then are you really a real estate investor? So at least be honest with yourself. That goes back to that self-evaluation. So understand it all comes down to taking action. It really doesn't matter. On one hand, if you, I got to get my LLC or my S, you need to take action, okay? It's one of those things, I think John Heyer says, you got to have something going on to protect. So, okay? So if you're not doing anything, there's nothing there to protect. So this is something, who's seen these numbers before? Review 100 properties, that you made contact with, or you're reviewing, or you're talking to sellers, you make 30 written offers, get about 10 accepted, close on 3. Anyone seen those numbers or anything like that before?
Yes.
Okay, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago when we started, back then you'd see numbers pretty much like this. This was like an average. You could see this was like, well, if you wanted to get 3 houses, that was kind of some of the numbers to use. You'd see floating around. Everyone's different, but this was just some of the things. You'd have to look at 100 properties to pick out 30 that you could actually get an offer in on, to find the ones that are motivated enough, right? So just keep an eye on that. So really when it comes down to it, with what we're talking about is 3 types of sellers. And I want to know which one you like to work with. I like to work with one type. Who would prefer to just buy from real estate agents all day long? Okay. Who would prefer to buy from wholesalers and investors all day long? Okay. Who would like to deal with unhappy homeowners? Me too. Now, we buy from real estate agents. We're in escrow to buy something right now with a real estate agent. We do that. We buy from wholesalers too. But for the purpose of really tonight, we're going to talk more about the unhappy homeowners. But at the same time, the conversations you have with each one of them are different. Understand when you're talking about unhappy homeowners, we can talk about pain points, et cetera. It's really hard to talk to the real estate agent about their seller's pain point. They're trying to poker face on what's going on. You're trying to understand really why they're selling, because it matters if you're trying to do this type of deal or that deal. And their job is to take all the emotion out of it and just represent their buyer, their seller, right? And a wholesale investor, they're on there like, hey, can you close in 3 days or get that $10,000 non-refundable deposit in? And can you do, you know what I mean? In my ARV, it's worth $1 million, but I'll give it to you for $100,000. And it only needs $50,000, right? Anyone heard that, right? So understand different conversations. So, but that's one thing there. Which one would you prefer? High motivation seller, someone that had low motivation, or just some future deal, right? Well, I think we all agree high motivation, all right? So going back to the thing on what if you have no marketing money, right? If you need to go look at 100 houses and make 30 to get 30 offers out there, and you need to do that, well, where are you going to find them? So, and then again, you have to have that self-evaluation. Do you have any marketing money you're willing? Who has some marketing money they're willing to spend to get deals? Okay. Who goes, you don't have to raise your hand. Some of you really don't have it, and that's okay. We were there too, okay? So understand that if you don't have any marketing money, there's things you can do. But number one thing I'm always going to say is identify a neighborhood. Identify an area to work in. One of the things that and that might be an area of 200 houses, it might be an area of 200,000 houses. Depends, again, about what you're doing and your budget. We're going to go over that a little bit. And I'm going to say farm it, okay? And again, if you're like, well, how do I farm a large area? Well, we're going to talk about farming it every door with mailers. And go, well, I don't have it. Well, fine. You can send one letter. Leave a note on the door. door knock with a note, or make a phone call, skip trace and call. And you might do a neighborhood only this small. This is a neighborhood we did before. If you look, there's about 200 houses on there, 300, maybe 250. And we spent some time mailing, because we could afford $100 in mailing costs once a month. And then we eventually owning, in about a year and a half, we ended up owning about 25 doors in that neighborhood. And it was like, I don't know, 7, 8 properties, and the rest, 6 properties, and I think the other were wholesale deals. So we worked a small neighborhood, and a lot of that was from being in the neighborhood, a couple phone calls, some agents, and the letters. Just targeting one again and again and again and again. So if you say, well, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do, I don't know, what I'm going to say is wherever you already go, if that's a friend's house, a neighbor's house, or a brother's neighborhood, or if that's your own neighborhood, fine. In my case, Angela and I lived in a higher cost area. We were really on pennies, so we went to the high desert because houses were a lot cheaper there. It worked for me. Some of you want to go, no, I only want to flip in 700,000 above houses. Great, do that. Me, I like the $100,000 houses, 200,000. That was just where we were at the time. So understand that it didn't take a big budget to do that. Anyone could see a neighborhood like that, you could walk in a day. Okay? You can walk that in a day. So if money's a problem, there's one way to do that and get to know it. Now, did I do it in a day? No, I never walked it in a day. I went, a couple doors here, a couple doors there, but most of it was referrals because I'd get to know a tenant, or I used to live over there, or I drive by and see a house that was empty, and go talk to the neighbor, and all that was going on there, and it didn't cost any money. All right, that was one way to get going on that. So keep that in mind. With 100 properties, well, guess what? There was 250 there. 100, make 30 written offers, approximately 10 accepted, close on 3 because some of the others just didn't work. Maybe you're going to wholesale them, couldn't move. We did not put. We probably only put, to get all those offers, maybe 20 offers, and got about half. Because some of them we didn't make the offer. There just wasn't the motivation there. But I wanted to look at the bottom line. Ohio friend. A friend of mine, I was listening to this because I just caught this. And he's strictly referral only now. He gets people calling him. He gets, he said about 5 to 10 calls a week. But he actually makes a point to go out to about 4 or 5 houses a week. And he's buying 1 to 2 houses a week. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a 20 to 40%. He didn't say he closes 40% of the deals, but he spit those numbers out, and he goes, it's above 20%. I don't know about you, but 20% is pretty good. I'd take that. Okay? All right? So keep that idea. Again, so when Jim asked you how many deals, that's 4 deals this year, that's 10 deals this year, well, then where are you going to get the numbers? You want to just do it on the MLS? Well, we'll talk about that. If you have marketing money, then this is the size of your marketing area you might go do. Well, there's thousands, tens of thousands. You're not walking that, but now you can do some mailers. All right? Now you can do it a number of ways. Okay? I don't know how many people live in that, but if you look at the boundary, you might say the 210 to the 10, from the 15 to the 215. That's a good size area. How many work in that area now? No one's working that area? It's all mine. Stay out of it. Actually, Miguel, you and I, we've talked about that area. We've already been over there.
Which one was it?
Colton.
Oh, we were just talking about that like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're just 20 minutes. Okay. Anyone can do this. So this is just one area, for example, is what we're saying, okay? You can target an area, and then you can say, great, now what to do? I don't know. Understand, here's a list that we've gone over before. I've heard, well, there's 10 types of motivated sellers. There's 11 types of motivated sellers. Well, here's a list of 15, okay? You can get into minutia. The point is that these are different types of sellers that you can go target. And you might target them one way, it's better than another, but we can talk about that. For example, code violations. So you can look up properties that have code violations in some cities, not every city, but you can do that. Whether they're lender-owned or if there's liens on them. You don't always know if they're relocating, true on that, but there's some things you can do with tire landlords. I know people that look for, used to be 5 years or more, but I know a lot of them are doing 10 years or more. So they're actually pulling lists, and I'll go over that in a second, for people that are tire landlords that have 10 years or older, 10 years or more have owned a property that have high equity and they're above, say, 60 years of age or 70 years of age. A friend of mine just negotiated a seller carry 4-unit. No money down and almost no interest 2 weeks ago. Right by where Farrah lives. I think in her neighborhood. No, not her neighborhood, but close to it. But that's what's going on. But he did it by working the neighborhood he's already working in. All right, he's asking around. He's getting to know the neighbors. He's doing that. He's not doing mailers. He doesn't do mailers. He just gets to know everyone in the neighborhood he's already at. So if you're talking about the 15 types of motivated sellers, you can target like this. This is from a friend of ours that she targets out-of-state landlords especially. She likes to do searches for any time there's a quick claim deed change. She likes to target those because something's going on. Something either someone went from a person to a trust, or maybe someone passed away and they transferred to someone else, but something's going on and they just did a quick claim deed. The tired landlords talked about that, vacant homes, inherited properties, expired listings. And again, some of you are going, I have no idea how to go find a list with all the expired. Who does not know how to go find a list of expired listings? Who does not know? You have no idea. Sir, just be honest. Okay, all right. All right, well, here's a site. Anyone know PropStream? All right, well, I'll give you an idea. You remember that? Here was that market area I was talking about that I just had a minute ago. And then this is actually a property of ours. But look, right here, it'll be on the filter, the next thing. But here's one showing that there's 700 houses. This is like yesterday or today. 700 houses that are on the MLS, and there's 123 pre-foreclosures, which is right here. So if you want to take an area, let's say you have a large budget, and you go, I want to work in that area because it's close. And I want to take a list, I want to mail, I want to pull a list, I want to put it together, create a postcard, and mail to somebody. Well, you could start by taking an area and you go, well, there's 50,000 people there. I'm not going to send to 50,000 people. Well, that's when you start running a section and then grab, let's talk about pre-foreclosures. Well, there's 123. Well, that's a lot more bite-sized, isn't it? Right? And then you can go, well, how many of them are under this maybe in your area? Or north of the area? You go, maybe I need to go north of the area. And now you have something. Now you can go skip trace those people and give them a call if you want. Or you can literally pull that list and send them a letter or postcard, or go knock on a door. Or go partner with someone, knock on the door while you send them a mailer and you give them a phone call. Everyone understand? So this is PropStream. This is just when you enter in any address, and it'll start giving you all the different comps in the area, everything that's going on. It also, look here, 9,747 cash buyers. That's how many people bought a house with cash in that neighborhood. So when you say, I don't know any buyers, I don't have a buyer's list, and you buy a house, get it on a contract, and you could go look at that list. Now all of a sudden there's all these people, and you start doing it, you'll start seeing the same names come up. Call them, see if they're buying. Now you have a buyer that might be interested in the area you're already going with a track record. Okay? Follow that? All right. Almost 6,000 properties with liens. 6,000. When I do a search, though, I take out solar liens. It'll probably half will be gone. Why? Because the solar lien they chose to put on. All the other liens that I know of, pretty much, most, might be a hero or something. The majority of the others they didn't choose to put on. Tax lien, trash lien, water lien, any of that stuff, utility liens. So there's something going on there. Now, if you take a list, and we go into here, we're going to go back here. We're going to go a list with liens. We could also take a lien and cross-reference and pull how many of the liens are the pre-foreclosures. Or we can go in here and say failed listings. Or how many have tax delinquency? 7,542 have tax delinquency. Now you can start stacking a list. So you can take an area that has 200,000 people, 50,000 homes, and you want to market to that, you want to mail to that, and you're like, I don't have that budget. You want to go ahead and start focusing it in, and you can pull the list, and you go, okay, I got 50,000 houses. And then you say, well, how many of them have a tax lien? Oh, it's 6,000. Then you take the 6,000, and then you go, how many 6,000 are going through?